Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Jim Williams, Sean Miller here. And Sean, a lot of news. Let's start with your thoughts on Argentina and Croatia yesterday. Fantastic game.
Yeah, I kind of went into it weighing whether to go, Argentina or the Croatia and draw and the early penalty changed the game. I thought it wasn't a very good call, but it is what it is. Early goal, Croatia had to push, and it was they ran out of legs. Kind of something I've been talking about. I thought they were going to run out of legs at some point. I thought maybe it was going to be last game, but they didn't, and here they did. You can't fall behind in games early in these games, especially against a team like Argentina and Messi, who just ran the show after that, and Julian Alvarez had that. The third goal was fantastic. The second goal was a little bit lucky because a couple guys didn't clear it, but. Croatia, what can you say? They got to a semifinal, but this Argentina team looks to me like maybe they were kind of destined to get to a final. What happens now? It'll be interesting, but it'll be pretty interesting to see. After today's game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the legend of Messi definitely was etched in the history books yesterday.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Messi's second final now. He was in the final in 2014, lost in extra time to Ameria Götze goal. Here, I think if they play Morocco in the final, they'll be huge favorites. If they play France, I think maybe France will be a little bit of a favorite, but it'll be a pretty even game. So the last time they played in the last World Cup, France and Argentina, it was a 4-3 game in the round of 16. So probably the best game of the tournament. So right after France and Spain and Portugal played a 3-3 game. It was like a day after that. So, there was some pretty good games. But, I think that would be a pretty interesting game as well.
What about let's talk for just a moment about how the whole thing was handled at the end. I mean, the post-game interviews, there was just an air of class to both sides. I mean, there wasn't excuses, there wasn't whining and all of that stuff. The Argentinians were excited, as they should be, and the Croatians were gracious in defeat.
Yeah, I question the penalty a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I think they just kind of, when you lose 3-0 to, and Messi's, just does something like that, it's tough. And this team, they got to a semifinal. The Croatia's once again a tiny country. I mean, it's got 4 million people, less people than in New Jersey.
Right.
And it's they've been to a World Cup final and a World Cup semifinal. And 20 years ago they weren't even a country. So whenever they kind of split off, or they weren't recognized 25, whatever, when they started playing in the World Cup, I think 30 years ago. So, I mean, to build this history so quickly, it's been pretty amazing to see what they've done. But yeah, yesterday the better team won, so there's not really much you could say. When I broke down the game Monday night on the show, they asked me about the over, and I said, look, if it's over, it's because Argentina is going to score 2 or 3 goals. If it's an under, it's because Croatia just shut them down, and it's going to go to extra time, and it ended up as the former, not the latter, and just picked the wrong.
But yesterday you said that you liked Argentina anyway. I mean, from a gaming standpoint as well as from just a plain out.
Yeah, I mean, I have Argentina and France in a parlay. I actually parlayed both, and then Croatia and draw on Argentina and France. But I had more money on Argentina and France. I just thought they had a chance to win. I went with, in some of my picks, I went with Croatia in the draw just because it offered, once again, better value. But just as soon as 10 minutes into the game, you kind of know which way the game is going to go.
And, it's going to be on Fox at 1 o'clock. Today's the pregame show. 2 o'clock is the kick. And you've said from day one that you like this Morocco team. And, that was before anybody ever kicked the ball. So, good on you for getting Morocco. And you've also, we both have loved France. So this should be an interesting game.
Yeah, I've backed France in basically every tournament since 2016. I just think that they've been the best squad. They've the injuries that they've had before this tournament would have decimated basically, everything about taking Messi, Enzo Fernandez, one of the center backs and a couple midfielders out of Argentina's team and think about what they're doing. Well, France doesn't have the Ballon d'Or winner, and Pogba and Conte, two pivotal midfielders to the last run, and the left back. I mean, you take those guys out of the Argentina team, and they're not even getting out of the group. So France, you take basically 5 starters out of the team, and they're in the semifinal and favored to get to a final.
Do you have any thoughts on the awards? The Golden Boot, the Ballon d'Or, the whole.
Right now Messi is on. I think they're both on. Messi's played 6 games. He has 5 goals and 3 assists, so he's leading it. Mbappe has 5 goals and 2 assists, but he's played 1 less game, and he didn't even play in the. He basically played a couple minutes in that 3rd game against Tunisia there, so he's basically done it in 1 less game. Julian Alvarez on 4 goals. So if Mbappe can score. If Mbappe scores today 1 or 2 goals, he goes back into the lead. 1 goal gets him back in. But it does come down to minutes played as well. If Mbappe and Messi are on the even with points or goals and assists, Mbappe played less minutes, so he would get it. So we just got to see. We see him get a goal today. I think he'd be back in the lead. I think more about France winning the game today. Golden Ball right now is almost certainly going to be Messi. I would think he's unless Mbappe goes out and scores a hat trick today, I think Messi is probably going to be a lock to win that. Young player of the tournament at this point is probably going to be Enzo Fernandez. He's just been so pivotal for Argentina. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
We did have overnight a bit of not overnight. It's been the last 48 hours. An interesting thing with regard to the MLS, and let's go to the headlines on that. Fox is in, ESPN is out of the MLS biz. Apple owns all the rights, English, French, and Spanish. ESPN decided they wanted no part of buying games which were non-exclusive. And so from a linear standpoint, if you're going to watch MLS games this year, a package of 15 of them will be on Fox and Fox Deportes. The rest will be on Apple TV Plus. Apple TV Plus is going to put together a package, which they will begin to offer, that will give you all of the games. You can watch whatever you want, whenever you watch. And by the way, the key to that package, unlike others that we've seen in the past, specifically Major League Baseball, is that you will be able to watch your home team play. And, that is a big thing for a couple of reasons. One, many of the teams in the MLS do not have local television contracts. So the opportunity now to see your, whomever you like in the MLS, basically you can do it through purchasing a streaming package directly from Apple. Also, interestingly, in that situation, Univision, who we know have been covering soccer for many, many years, is also out of the business, and they will carry the Leagues Cup tournaments, but they're not going to cover um, the games on on broadcast TV. So that leaves us with Fox as the only linear broadcaster in English and Spanish for the MLS. One last thing before we start chatting about this is that of all of the sports that we consume here in this country, soccer is by far the most streamed. So I can understand to an extent why ESPN didn't want to do it, because frankly, Apple TV Plus is a direct competitor to ESPN Plus. So therefore, there was no reason for them to, as they saw it, get into it if they didn't have any digital rights to it. So Fox is in. They don't have a digital partner, so that makes it easier for them. Fox is in. ESPN's out, and how you consume MLS soccer starting in February. The options are there.
Yeah, I think for ESPN they don't really need it, to be honest, because they have, when you look at, let me pull this up real quick.
It's not. They have the leagues. They have other leagues.
I mean, ESPN has the Bundesliga, La Liga,
Right.
The FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, Bundesliga 2, Women's FA Cup, Carabao Cup, I think I said, EFL, Copa del Rey, Liga MX, the Super Cup.
Right.
They have the USL,
Right.
which is interesting. They have the FIFA Cup. They have the U.S. Open Cup in America as well. They have the Eredivisie. So, I mean, they don't really, to be honest, they didn't really. Fox is like, this is interesting with Fox because, growing up, or, not growing up, but like 15 years ago, Fox Soccer was the only place to watch
Right.
the Premier League. And Satanta had Satanta had it. And then, Satanta kind of imploded and, became
Right.
that Fox Soccer channel. So, Fox Soccer channel had that and everything. And then, the Fox Soccer channel is they don't even show soccer in there anymore. It's just, rugby and Australian, which is cool. I like those. But, Fox lost the Premier League to NBC. And then they lost the Champions League, and then they lost the Bundesliga to ESPN, and they have this World Cup and the coverage. To be honest, I don't even watch it on Fox. I watch it on the English channels through streaming and stuff. But they don't really have a lot of stuff. The MLS was one of the things they had, and then Apple kind of took them because they wanted to pay more. And, ESPN in these discussions, I think ESPN said, well, we don't need to co-brand like you said, we already have this stuff. And, Fox kind of needs it. They don't have anything else. They don't really have, they have baseball in the summer, but, once again, like the baseball numbers are down. So I just know, both of the in the New York Post, the MLS, they're talking about the MLS had a standoff with Fox and ESPN. They didn't really want to pay a lot because, Apple's the main thing. And, I think ESPN just said, we're out. And, Fox, I don't know how many games Fox is going to have.
15.
So, I mean, think about that, there's 30 something weeks of the season plus the playoffs. This is over 40 weeks, so it's basically one every 3 weeks. And they didn't have great numbers last year. And then I know the Spanish channels as well are still trying to figure out what's going on, right?
Well, like I said, Univision is clearly out. They're only going to carry the Leagues Cup. Telemundo might still be in play. Remember that, as it says right here, Apple owns the English rights, the Spanish rights, and the French rights. The French rights, obviously, because they Apple TV is is in Canada as well, so that's where the French right issue comes in. From a standpoint of the league, I mean, the league's getting $250 million over per year for the next 10 years.
Yeah, so they don't care.
So the league basically says, okay, well, that's where the money is. They understand. I mean, you and I've talked about this 100 times. We stream the games on ESPN Plus. We stream the games on Paramount Plus. We stream the games on Peacock. So, putting Apple TV in the mix to me doesn't make any difference. I mean, it's okay, fine. We'll just watch it on Apple TV. I think that the linear broadcast becomes far less important than it used to be.
Yeah. Look, if I'm an MLS fan and I want to watch MLS, I don't know how much it's going to cost for the package.
What, the new Apple?
Yeah.
The new Apple deal, I believe, is going to be like $99 a year.
So it looks like, so if you're already an Apple TV subscriber,
right, you get it.
It's $79, right?
Right.
So if I'm paying $79 if I'm physically putting out $79 to watch this stream, I like, to be honest, I don't really care if it's on Fox or whatever. I'm just gonna watch the game I want to watch on Apple. Just paid it anyway, so like, it is like, if I care enough about the MLS to go out and fork out this money, which isn't a lot over the course of the season, it's $6 a month or something like that. I think sometimes people get into that, they're like, oh, I have to pay for Peacock and I have to pay for, Paramount and I have to pay for this. But yeah, it's $6 a month and it's way less than cable. So, well,
there's that, but think of it this way, right? If you were to go to a Union game, right, you would pay, if you and the family, or you decided to go down and go to a Union game and take the kids and have a nice day, you're paying over $250 anyway.
I always got, when I used to coach at NLSA, they always had tickets. They're like, we have free tickets.
Right.
Free tickets. If I would go with like me and one other person, the free tickets would cost me over $100 because I have to drive there, gas, tolls, parking. So before I even, because Chester's on the other side of the planet, basically, from where I live.
Right.
So, it's an hour drive. It's plus time and all that stuff. So, it's an hour drive, tolls, parking, $25. So before I even stepped foot into the stadium, it was, $40. Then beers, drinks, whatever. So, free tickets would cost me whatever. Now, if I'm going with 4 people,
right,
like you said, and the tickets aren't free, like even if I don't, if I get them for $10, I mean, it's like you said, 200. Like, it's the same with Eagles games for me. We get free Eagles preseason tickets all the time. Hey, yeah, we got preseason game. Okay. Well, $35 to park, plus the bring any food you're bringing to the tailgating.
Right.
And anything inside the stadium. So, free, 2 free tickets or 2 $10 tickets ends up costing you like $120. I don't even like the Eagles. So to me, I mean, it's cool. Like, I have Eagles Giants tickets for January 9th. Maybe I'll go, but maybe I'll just say, here, go, give them to somebody else or sell them on the market or whatever. And watch the game on TV. So if I'm paying, for me, $79 isn't that much, and I get to watch every game.
Yeah. And the other part of it is that from the standpoint of convenience and the ability to watch all the games, I mean, that's why I've always purchased, the MLB baseball package. because maybe maybe tonight Clayton Kershaw's pitching in Los Angeles, and I want to see Clayton Kershaw pitch in Los Angeles. It gives me that option to do it. Now, what the MLS thing did with Apple, and I greatly appreciate this, is they let you watch your home team game, and I think that's a bit of a game changer there. So if you're a fan of the Union or DC United or any of the New York teams or anywhere in the country, you can, rather than and the Holy Grail used to be, because right now all of the Valley Sports is trying to figure out and maybe marketing their own, so you can have local broadcast, local regional sports network. But if I used to want to watch a game on a DC United game, I would have to have a specific channel in my cable package, where I couldn't see that.
Yep. Right now, it's basically there's almost 500 games next year because there's 29 teams. They play 3-4 games. So it's like 16 cents a game if you get the package. If it's basically 79. Your team plays 34, so it's $2 a game. To watch every single game and know that you can tune in and watch it. So it's.
Let me ask you a quick question. A little sidebar, because this is something that I'm a little confused by, and that is most of the teams in the MLS do not have radio contracts.
Yeah, it's weird.
Do they have one in Philly?
I'm not sure. I feel like their games are on somewhere.
In DC, the games are on, but they're in Spanish. There's no English language broadcast radio-wise of local DC United games.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, is the radio broadcast partner. 102.5, 104.5 HD2, iHeart app, and 1480 AM. So that's through this year.
Sure, I mean
that was through 2022. So they had it through 2022. So I don't know if they have a new.
So the bid's up again for whatever. But
it's weird though. Like if I'm in my car and sometimes I'll have the World Cup channel on, or I'll listen to Premier League games on Sirius because I have Sirius.
Right.
But it's it's just like. When you're driving around England and stuff, and in the cabs or the Ubers, they have it on, and it's just like weird because you can't see it. Like it's such a visual sport,
right?
So can't see them moving the ball around and stuff. But
well, Fox offered the league $7 million for their package. This was that was the initial offer. And then when Amazon when Apple came in and took it, that changed the dynamic. And Apple has worked with other linear broadcasters. I don't think, as I said before, that it's going to keep people from watching MLS. If you want to watch MLS, you'll go ahead and do the Apple aspect.
Yeah. Look, this is. If you're that much of a fan, you're going to buy the thing. When the Premier League went to Peacock, and look, you can still find games. I mean, I bought Peacock because I want to watch the Manchester United games, and Manchester United most of the time aren't on Peacock because they're the biggest team in the world. Most of the time they're on Fox, but they've figured out now, NBC. Sorry, they're on NBC or USA. Now they figured out, and because they're in the Europa League, they're playing on Sundays, which those games are all televised. And they figured out though, if they put those teams on there, people will buy it, the package.
Oh.
So every once in a while they'll put them on there, but most.
Well, one of the big things that NBC did to help Peacock was they took the Sunday Night Football game, and
Yeah.
put it on there and said, okay, you can watch it on NBC, or if you have, if you have a subscription to Peacock, you can watch it on Peacock. So that helps Peacock out tremendously. So we'll see how this plays out. I agree with you in that if I'm a fan, uh, I don't mind making that leap to $79 or $99 because at the end of the day, I'm getting what I want.
Yes,
I don't have to
exactly.
worry about where it is and what the whole deal is. Plus, at that point, I know they're hiring people to be part of the experience, and they'll have their own broadcasters and all that stuff, and they're doing it in concert with the league. So I think it's a smart move. Now, speaking of moves, this one has to do with your team, my friend.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Amazon possibly buying Man U?
Oh, look, it'd be awesome. I mean, they would, obviously make it the centerpiece of their thing, and there'd be all kinds of content around it. I already watch, I already have MUTV, but obviously they would be whatever. It's I don't know if there's going to be a conflict because they have the streaming rights. So
Well, that's where other other teams are now bringing up, as you might might guess, uh, a number of teams in the league are not excuse me, are not too keen on seeing Amazon stroll in and buy Man U. So there is pushback from the league on this one.
yeah, it happened before when Rupert Murdoch wanted to buy it, and they kind of blocked that. B Sky B back in the day, and that led to the Glazers eventually buying it and ruining the team. At this point, according to all the Manchester United fans there. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there's at the price they want. There's only a limited market for them. Obviously, they're trying to sell the team for £6 or £7 billion. So, who's at $10 billion? Like Apple, Amazon, the Indian guy that's the
Right.
richest guy in the world, and Elon Musk. I mean, you're not talking about a huge market here. It's not going to be some guy strolling up with an empty in his wallet here. You know, Bezos could buy it. I
Mhm.
guess because Bezos is technically not the. I think he stepped down right from
Yeah,
Amazon. I mean, Jeff Bezos could buy it, so it would be separate from that. It would be separate from Amazon buying it. So
right.
Bezos
He,
could do it, and
yeah, he's
they're
basically now in the he and Jay Z are in conversation about the purchase of the Washington Commanders. So we'll see. The Forbes came out with the top NBA teams as far as franchise value, and you care to guess who's number one on that list?
doing. Is it which teams is it?
It's the you mean which league or which team?
Yeah, it's
It's the
the
NBA.
NBA. Probably the Lakers.
Actually, it's the Golden State Warriors.
Wow. Oh,
And I'll tell you why. Um, First of all, they are very successful. That's it.
mhm.
That doesn't hurt. The other thing is that when they moved from Oakland over to San Francisco, they moved into that beautiful Chase Center, and that Chase Center is gorgeous. And so, you know, ticket prices, all of that. They are sliding in number one. Number two in the NBA shouldn't surprise anybody. That would be the
I
Knicks.
would say the Knicks.
Yeah. So
Bargain.
definitely,
It's interesting. I mean, when you look at the values, I think now it's San Francisco probably most expensive place in the world to live at this point. Maybe Golden State, New York probably second most, Los Angeles third most. Chicago probably up there. Clippers, the Nets. The teams. It's the NBA is the reason though the NBA people like it. I guess is because it doesn't always have to be. The Knicks aren't very good. They haven't been good for a
Right.
while. The Bulls, they're okay. They haven't been good for a while. The Clippers don't win anything. The Lakers, every once in a while, they'll pop up now, but, haven't really done much other than that tainted COVID season,
Mm-hmm.
without, Kobe Bryant in the franchise. They've won one title in however many years.
Right.
So, it's kind of the opposite of soccer in the world. Everybody. I wrote a story yesterday. I mean, I think I talked about it. Manchester City is favored in all 4 tournaments they're in right now. They're favored to win all 4 tournaments that they're in. Will they win all 4? Probably not, because they're always favored to win and they don't. They're not even leading the Premier League right now. And they're still heavily favored. But PSG is before the season. A couple years ago when PSG didn't win and Lille won it, it was one of the biggest, kind of the biggest upsets. When Monaco won it in 2016, 2017. At the time it looked like a huge upset. Little did we know a 16 and 17-year-old Kylian Mbappe leading them to the title and the Champions League semifinals that year, beating Manchester City. Didn't realize how good this guy was going to be. It's Bayern Munich wins the Bundesliga every year. Ajax and PS. In soccer, it's the rich teams and stuff. That's why I think some people hate that Super League idea, and some people don't actually hate it because if you took all these teams out of, say you took, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, PSG out of all their leagues and just put them in another league, Super League, European Super League, all of a sudden the regular leagues are open for everybody else. And maybe, it goes back to the way it was. So, I think on some levels, that's not the worst idea in the world. People are real nationalistic though. So people won't England can't, Liverpool, Liverpool don't care because they're the Scottish Republic. They don't really consider them part of England, but I want to win the Premier League title. No, I mean, for everybody always asks me if I'd rather win the Premier League or the Champions League. For me, it's the Champions League. It's not even close.
Right.
So,
I mean, the Champions League, you get bragging rights in Europe and around, from that.
Also, when you win the Champions League, you get to play, and you go to that the Club World Cup, and you play the winners of every other federation around the world, and you're the world champion. I mean, you're literally
the world champions. Yeah.
You're the best team in the world. You beat all the European teams, and you beat all the teams from around the world. I mean, that's that's the song we sing. Manchester world champions twice, once more than England. Manchester United, they've won the Club World Cup in 2000, and there's a whole story about that. But I
mean, the other part of the equation is financial, right? If you win the Champions League, you win a pot of gold.
Oh, it's ridiculous. If Manchester United gets back in the Champions League and wins it, because they're their TV money, these English teams get like 100 million. You get 150 million for being in the Premier League anyway, for the TV rates. But if you win the 100 million, I mean that's a lot of plus. It's not just that. If you're winning the champ, advertisers are throwing money at you. That's the whole thing about this. With this new owner that comes into Manchester United. Look, I know Liverpool's for sale, and they're I hate them, but they're a big club. Manchester City's not a big club. They were nothing club until they were bought by a state. I mean, PSG, same thing. But now they are. But in regards to fans, City's way down the list, and PSG probably even as well. I mean, PSG has hardcore fans, but Lyon and Marseille and some of these other clubs. But if Manchester United is good, like when they've been bad for the last 10 years, people are throwing money at them like crazy. Imagine if they're good and winning trophies. It's gonna you could make crazy money. Amazon, Bezos sees it. I mean, he sees they got 650 million fans around the world, and the important thing is they got a lot of fans in America, they got a lot of fans in China, they got a lot of fans in India, in these developing countries where people are just starting to get like money to buy, TV rights and all of this stuff. So, I mean, it's crazy the stuff that can happen here. So,
well, to your point, I mean, I've seen Manchester United jerseys all over the country.
Yeah, everywhere.
I actually have one. So
I have one or two, or
yeah, I figured you might. I figured you might.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, and we're talking now about people in this country. When I keep getting this slam at me from people saying, "Well, we don't really like soccer in this country," and I go, "That you're nuts. What do you get?" I said, we don't like bad soccer. Okay, I'll give you that, but we definitely like soccer. I had a PSG hat.
Nice.
And I wore the PSG hat, and I was stunned how many people knew what the hell it was.
These kids, I'll give you an example. So my nephew, Ethan, who lives with my parents, they have PlayStation. My mom's a huge gamer, so she has every system ever known to man.
Right. So, going back to the old school stuff too.
Has them all over. I mean, it's crazy. They have more gaming systems and all over the house than I know to do it. But he'll watch. He was over on the weekend watching the games. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's Aaron Bad. He plays for Fiorentina." I'm like, "How the hell do you know that?" Like, they play FIFA on these games.
Right.
They know every player. Mbappe, they know every single player. These kids that are growing up know more about FIFA and Madden, obviously, two biggest games. Game, but FIFA is massive. The kids growing up now, I'm 100% convinced they know more soccer players around the world than new baseball players.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And when you tell, my guy Daryl, fine, we did the How to Bet show. He would never want to talk about soccer. He's like, soccer. He's a big baseball guy. He plays baseball now. Right. But it's just not like these kids now, and just the dynamics of the country, because there's so many people from Central America and Mexico and Europe and all, basically everywhere in the world watches soccer. And now they're here and they're watching soccer, and it's just the numbers are the people playing youth soccer and everything. So people know the game, and it's really a lot of the kind of the people who have just like hardcore baseball or hardcore football or hardcore. I'm not gonna.
So, I mean, let's be honest, okay? We're in a business where some of the people, specifically, I'm calling you out, boys and girls, on the sports talk radio side, are lazy. I mean,
they don't want to do any research.
They don't want to know. They don't care if it's a stick in a ball. Okay, fine. Because they don't want to do the research and take the time to know, and it's a fact of laziness on their part.
There's going to be a big revolution in this country when the people that have been on sports radio for years are done, and the new blood comes in, and they start talking about this. First of all, the World Cup in 2026. After that, it's going to be just soccer. So there's going to just be this huge revolution because that's what people watch. They
Well,
get up in the morning on Saturdays and watch these games. The
when
numbers.
was the World Cup in Germany? Do you remember?
Yeah, 2006.
Okay. In 2006, SiriusXM reached out to me and said, "Look, we're going to do a soccer channel. Would you come on during World Cup and work with us on World Cup?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, of course." And they SiriusXM sent their own broadcasters to the games in Germany. And so they really put in the money they were the only place you could listen to the games if you want to listen to them on radio in the United States. And the numbers they got in 2006 off of that, of people who subscribed to SiriusXM, made them aware that, you know what, let's just do a full-time, full-blown soccer channel. And they launched it in 2006.
Yep.
And I played a small part in it, but I'm happy to say that there are places for you to listen, free. You just have to be SiriusXM. There are places I can point you. You'll get a lot of soccer news, but there, it hasn't just mainstreamed into the local aspect, because, as I said before, people tend to be pretty lazy about that.
Yeah.
Now, if it's in New York or Philly or DC or places where you've got a huge international audience, well, then they may touch on it from time to time, or at the very least have a show once a week or something like that. But it's just one of those things where you sit there and go, I'm looking at TV ratings, and the TV ratings that three of the sports you're talking about, baseball, NHL hockey, and I forget the other one, but anyway, it doesn't matter, are dwarfed by the numbers of soccer, and you haven't said a word about it.
Yep.
So if you don't want that audience, Sean and I will happily take your audience and bring them here.
I'll talk about it for 24 hours a day if people want to listen.
And writing about it for the other 24. So,
that's right.
There you go. All right. Well, let's go here real quick, and your thoughts on today's matchup between France, the odds-on favorite, and I got to tell you, I'm guessing that the crowd is going to be in the tank for Morocco.
Yeah, it'll be heavily Morocco. There's been a pretty good French presence there. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of plays out the same as yesterday's game. If France gets an early goal, Morocco lose 3-0, 2-0, 3-0. The longer the game goes without a goal, it'll be tough. But Morocco's banged up. I just think that the pace of France will get some goals here.
I think, to your point, I think there's a gear in the France arsenal that hasn't been hit yet, right?
Yes.
You sit there and go, okay, they played this thing at 3/4 speed. They haven't played it at 100%. If they can play 100% for even the first 45 minutes, I don't think there's anybody, specifically Morocco, is going to be able to hang with it.
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of how I look at it.
They could put it away before the first 45's over.
Yeah, look, Morocco's banged up. It's the same as I think it could play out exactly the same as yesterday. That game was over at halftime. France. If Mbappe scores a goal, Giroud scores a goal, whatever, dodgy penalty, whatever it is. If they're up 1 or 2-0, I think if they're up 2-0 at halftime, the game's over. Morocco's not. First of all, Morocco doesn't score goals. They don't allow goals. They haven't allowed goals so far, but neither had Croatia.
Sure.
And they don't score a lot of goals like Croatia. So if France takes the lead and Morocco has to actually start to play a little bit, start to attack and whatever, I think they're in trouble. I just think France. So I've been on France the whole tournament. I'm not going to switch now.
Well, I think we do both want, though, to acknowledge the fact that, Morocco should get a great deal of credit for making it this far.
Oh, of course. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Aaron Bat's got to be.
There's no embarrassment losing to France.
No, I think the keeper's got to be, up there for keeper of the tournament. I would say him or the Croatian keeper. Aaron Bat's going to be in the team of the tournament. This Croatia-Morocco third place game, I think will be pretty interesting. And I think that's a big deal for Morocco. If Morocco gets medals coming out of this tournament, they'll be heroes, the first African team to ever medal. Can they win the game today? I don't know. I mean, I could see the same thing. I could see it being, 0-0 and, scraping. I should say it could happen. I don't see it, but there's a path for it to happen. But
I'm simply saying that we should, and you've been on them from day one.
Yeah,
give credit for this little team that suddenly is in the semifinals playing France, and nobody picked them to be there. So
nobody.
If there is a Cinderella story, it's going to be them. And look at what they've done for African soccer, as well as, to be honest and fair, the Arab world. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people from Qatar who are in the stands who are there because they want to see Morocco play.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So there's plenty to like about that.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to see them there, but Cinderella's probably gonna.
Yeah, the slipper's going.
Today.
So, all right. Any final thoughts? Any for today, or on any of the topics that we talked about?
Oh, let's just get. If France wins and Bezos buys United, I think it'll be a good day.
It'd be a good week for you if that happened.
Yeah, I'd go back. I'd go to sleep for the rest of the week at that point.
There you go. All right. Well, it's been fun, and go ahead and tell people where they can read some of the stuff that you've got popped up there. You just said you pushed some stuff out.
Yeah, I got, there's some stuff on NJ.com, NJ.com/Mercer, and it'll be on a bunch of ESPN sites around the country coming up soon. Different sites, a lot of stuff on NJ, and in New Jersey, I think it's 101.5 and Shore Sports and 97.3, but just on various ESPN sites around the country. Will be when they go live. I'll get them out. And
you'll let us know about the NBC thing when it goes live.
Yeah, yep. That'll be Monday next week. Monday at 6:05, I believe it starts. I'll be on every Monday at 6:05. So on NBC and Washington, and you could always watch on Monumental Sports Network as well, and on their Twitter channel. So you could.
That's Ted Leonsis' network.
What's that?
Ted Leonsis' network.
Yeah, he the show was run out of the arena there, and I think they bought NBC and
yeah, he bought originally, in the proverbial, just so you all know, Ted owns the Capitals, the Wizards, the building in DC, and is the leader in the clubhouse anyway, to buy the Washington Nationals. He owned when NBC Sports came to them, because they're basically the NBC Sports Network in Washington was basically the home of the Capitals and the Wizards, and Ted decided that he would make a deal with them where they bought equity into his network, which is Monumental Sports, which you can download anywhere. Highly recommend. Good people down there. Outstanding folks. Ted's a good man. Anyway, Monumental Sports, NBC invested bought 35% of Monumental Sports, and then Ted turned around, because the option was there to buy the NBC outlet, and so he bought NBC Sports and rolled it into Monumental Sports. So it was a move there. They have, as Sean was saying, in the building, what used to be the Green Turtle, which was a restaurant, is now their sports book, and
Yeah.
I think it's Caesars.
It is Caesars. Yeah, it's my guy Chris Chion and from New Jersey and Meg McDonald. They do the show right there. You can see the sports book, right below in that bar right there. So it's pretty cool. I'd love to try to get down there to do a live show one day. So that would be pretty cool.
I'm surprised that they don't have it on Philly.
Yeah, it would be cool.
So
I'd like to do my own thing in Philly.
Well, stranger things have happened.
That's right.
We should take the network to Philly.
Yes.
So there you go. All right, boys and girls. We will see you tomorrow, and we'll be able to tell you what happened this afternoon in France and Morocco. And we're looking for your questions and your comments. Okay. We will see you tomorrow for Sean. I almost said Sean King for Sean Miller and Jim Williams. Have a great day, everybody. Hope everything works out and hopes your team wins.